can we just address how crazy the term Friendslop is? Like, imagine someone seeing you play Peak and they say, "You know that game was only developed to cash in on dumbasses like you that will buy anything to have a good time with your close friends. F***ing idiot." So you don't have friends? What? For real though, I think we can all agree that games like Peak, R.E.P.O, Lethal Company, and any other new ones that follow it are objectively pretty fun experiences with friends, and are definitely worth the extremely cheap asking price. But that's all they are, just, Friendslop, right? Well, I think these games are teaching us, and more importantly, teaching other developers in the industry, a very important lesson. I don't think it's unreasonable to say that most people nowadays, when they hear multiplayer game, they automatically think of games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Apex, Marvel Rivals, and whatever other shooter slop exists out there. Calm down, okay? I play a few of these games. Chill out, it's a joke. But do you notice a pattern with these games? No? Well, let me ask you another question. Name me 3 multiplayer games that aren't competitive. See? Not as easy. And sure, you definitely could still come up with a few pretty quickly. Minecraft and Baldur's Gate are ones that immediately come to my mind. But the thing is, there is still sort of a competitive nature to these games. And if you for some reason think that I'm dumb and I just don't know games that aren't competitive, watch what comes up on Google when I search multiplayer games. Or even better, here's the multiplayer category on Steam. Yep, whole lot of competitive slop here. Sure, multiplayer inherently implies that there will be some sort of competitive nature to it, right? Well, let's take a look back at a few games that I think were very important in creating this new booming subgenre of multiplayer games the youth calls Friendslop. This is the subscribe button. You should click it, cause why not? And this is Mario. He is at a get-together with friends, and some might call it a shindig. Me personally, I just call it a hangout or like a chill sesh. Mario Party is obviously competitive, but it's a lot looser in the context of the competition. It is clear by the name of the game that this is intended to be casual fun. Now, obviously, does that mean most people are having casual fun while playing it, instead of raging and ruining friendships over it? Not necessarily. But Mario Party felt like a natural progression of board games, which were also casual fun. I mean, intended to be casual fun. And Nintendo felt at the forefront of this casual gaming idea because they would release a casual gaming masterpiece in the next console generation. Animal Crossing is very beloved for many reasons, though I think most would agree its success is mostly rooted in its extremely low stakes. It's a game in which you literally make friends, tend your growing plants, and pay off crippling debt. And as much as the first one for the GameCube is great, I want to look at Wild World for the DS. It was pretty obvious the next step for the series was to introduce multiplayer. And its introduction was definitely impactful, as Animal Crossing and games who sought to replicate its success are still popular to this day. Though, around the same time, the real predecessors of Friendslop were about to take the game world by storm. Allow us to go back and remember the wonderful world of online hangout slop. Club Penguin, Webkins, Toontown, Pop Tropica, Neopets, f***ing Roblox. A renaissance of casual games hit the internet harder than Cam Chancellor hit a defenseless Vernon Davis. This was, in my opinion, the first wave of Friendslop. Because, to be honest, a lot of these games weren't at all fun by yourself. I remember logging into Toontown a few times and just standing there at spawn, like I'd been lobotomized. I'd get bored after a few minutes and then log out. And maybe you had fun with it, but it was just meh without your friends right next to you. For example, I played the shit out of Roblox when I was younger, and it wasn't all flashy like modern Roblox games. My friends and I would play Enter the Evil French Fry Obby, or SpongeBob Krusty Krab Roleplay with morphs. And in first grade, we'd get computer time in school, and my friends and I would grind out Pop Tropica together, and laugh at each other's skin color. I promise, with context it makes sense. Club Penguin was literally a game about decorating a house and dancing on the melting ice caps. To me, these were the obvious first steps towards Friendslop, in the way that it doesn't demand too much from the player, and it gives the players a loose context for them to fill in the blanks with whatever they want. So I guess, social sandbox slop? And this wave didn't stop with these games. I would argue that Guitar Hero and Rock Band fit this category pretty good as well. The LEGO Star Wars games, and eventually all the other IP that they made LEGO games of. Wii Sports, Wii Play, Wii Sports Resort, Rayman Raving Rabbids. In the 2010s, we got Jackbox party games, like maybe too many of them. And what about Just Dance? And yes, I understand a lot of these games have competitive elements to them, but again, it's definitely a loose structure with emphasis on making the fun with the people you're with. Everyone who's played Just Dance with friends knows how annoying it is when the tryhard of the group is whooping ass and making it competitive. Like, yeah, sure, you won, but I still got 10,000 points while only occasionally following the dance moves on screen and instead hip thrusting 90% of the time. Pico Park, Overcooked, Human Fall Flat, Eureka! Or Excelsior or something. Did you know that as of the time of recording this, Human Fall Flat is the 10th best-selling game of all time? Like, I genuinely thought this was just a game that YouTubers played for a month and everyone forgot about. but I guess instead, it's been busy silently outselling Overwatch, The Sims, Breath of the Wild, Pokemon Red and Blue, Smash Bros. Ultimate, Skyrim, Pokemon Silver and Gold. But now, let's fast forward to 2023, when the often credited originator of the Friendslop genre came to be. Lethal Company. Now, on the surface, it doesn't look like anything special. A multiplayer game where you and your friends collect scraps on abandoned planets to make quota for a company that will kill you if you don't. You also have to avoid spooky creatures while doing it. And honestly, avoiding creepy things with your friends sounds an awful lot like Phasmophobia, which came out a few years earlier in early access, so what's different about Lethal Company? Remember earlier when I talked about how these sort of games would just build a loose framework of a game and let you create the fun with friends? Well, Lethal Company really focused on this concept by putting a heavy emphasis on proximity chat and an overall voice chat sandbox slop? Walkie-talkies, gas that alters your voice when you inhale it, echoes that become more prominent depending on how far you are and what environment you're in. Basically, proximity chat, but if you spent half of your development time on that, and the rest of the game was your secondary focus. And because of this, the gameplay itself was never the reason this game blew up. It was solely the reactions of friends playing it. Oh my... Due to the sound engine, it made more realistic and funny moments that can't be replicated with normal voice chat. It was this emphasis on the social interactions between players that I think defines Friendslop games. And honestly, I think this is where a lesson can be learned by other developers. Developing your multiplayer game on mechanics first, then filling in context around and within it, has proven to be a pretty damn successful method. Looking at R.E.P.O, it has similar proximity chat features and scary things to run and hide from, but the main mechanic that makes this slop fun is the weight of the objects that you're collecting and the loss of value as you bump into things. This mechanic alone is a fun concept, outside of running from scary things and being on a time limit. When we look at Peak, whose entire game is built on a climbing mechanic, different surfaces that handle differently when climbing, a stamina bar system with different status conditions that affect it differently, and obviously a lot of the same stuff that made the other Friendslop games fun. The success of these games are clear from not only player count, but also in virality of the content surrounding them. So to me, in a time where people seem to believe that games aren't as fun anymore, I think developers should seriously take notes on the design my game with fun first mentality slop genre. There's no excuse for games anymore, because I just gave y'all the cheat code.